Hello there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video. We are in the dead of night and we are about to take some pictures of the stars. Now, it occurred to me very recently that I have never tried or attempted to do any star trail images. And that's ultimately what the aim of the game is for this evening. We are still in the same location as the last two videos in the Torcal National Park, and I figured this would be the best place to try. And we're actually super duper lucky because it's actually quite a clear night. And for this time of year as well, the clear nights at this elevation, we're actually up quite high at around 1,300 meters, and it's usually socked in, you know. So I am delighted that there's a clear night while we are here. So I am taking full advantage of that. I hope I'm not blinding you with the light here. I now set up the camera, which I hope you can see here. I already did take some images during twilight just to expose for the foreground, and I did focus stack the foreground. So I'm kind of flying blind a bit here, and I'm just going to essentially just leave the camera here. It's not running yet, because the stars are still coming out. We're only really a little bit after the sun went down. Orla's back there at the picnic table cooking up some pasta. So I'm going to leave the camera here and wait for the stars to come out. Thankfully, I'm not too far from the van at all. And I've essentially got this nice frame leading up to essentially just these lovely kind of rocky mountains. And if all goes well, and this one doesn't take long, I don't really even know how long it's going to take, I might then jump into the park again and try and photograph some of the stars with the rock formations and things. This is still a very, very nice image frame that we've got going on here. And just to give you guys an idea, I have this 18mm Zeiss Batis lens, and this is my kind of like, I essentially bought it for Astro years ago, and getting the opportunity to take it out now and take some photographs of the night sky is wonderful, because y'all know how much I love photographing the night sky. But for now, I'm going to wander back, going to have some food, and going to just wait for the sky to happen, and hopefully the clouds stay away. Let's head back and have some food. So we are back at the camera, and I have taken just a couple of test shots just to see about the exposure. The only thing I'm finding at the moment is that because the sun just pretty much set over this way, this area of the night sky is still quite bright, even though it's very, very dark where I'm standing. But with a 30-second exposure, it's still very, very bright. Well, not very bright, but bright enough to, you know, give a kind of a halo, which I want to try and avoid. So I might leave it just a small bit longer and see about coming back then to do another couple of test shots. But as it stands now, it's really very, very nice. It's just so quiet. It's so wonderful, and so I might just set it off just to go and just to see what happens over the course of, say, an hour, and maybe what I've done essentially, just in relation to the camera settings, I have changed it to manual focus. I'm going to turn on the interval timer, which I have set up in my kind of shortcuts here. Interval shooting on. And what I'm going to do is I'll just set it for, say, 30-second exposures to, say, take, how many? Oh, I need to figure it out. Okay, I'm terrible at maths. I'm really terrible at maths. I'm going to figure this out. Hold on. Okay, so I think I figured it out. So I'm going to shoot 200 pictures at 30 seconds each with an interval shooting of 31 seconds. And that should probably run, it says, an hour and 42 minutes. So I am going to press go on this and then just walk away. And I feel quite confident the camera's not going to get stolen because there's nobody around, which is wonderful. I am just going to walk away and then come back at around 10:20, and then I hope it's enough. As I say, half of this video I think will probably be me standing here figuring this out, and then the other half of the video will probably be me at home on the computer trying to figure it out and, you know, showing the end result. If I manage to shoot more than this one, that would be awesome. If not, then no worries. As I say, it's my first time. Most likely it'll probably just shoot until the battery runs out. But for now, I'm going to just press go, and then we'll come back then in an hour and a half and see what's what. So let's go. Keep our fingers and toes crossed. Okay, we are back at the camera. So let us see how things went for us. So while we were in the car waiting, I did notice some head torches up on the ridge. So I don't know whether, I assume that they'll come up in the picture. Let's have a look here. Okay, so there's me shining my lamp. If nothing else, we will have a time lapse of the sky. So, but wow, it is so beautiful and so clear at the moment. The stars are so wonderful. I love to photograph the night sky, but for now I am going to go to bed because it's freezing cold, and we are going to finish this video in the office and see about putting this picture together. So I will see you in just a minute. So welcome back to the office. All that footage that you just seen was probably recorded about a month ago, and I have been slowly and steadily getting through everything. It's been a wonderful trip, and everything has come together so well. But for now, let's jump into the computer and see if we can manage to put this photograph together. I have no idea what's going to happen, so I look forward to giving it a try. I do know for sure that I'm most likely going to use star stacks, because I have used that in the past, and it seems to be the kind of like general consensus for stacking images to create the star trails. But let's jump into the computer and see about managing that. Ow! So I am going to now open Star Stacks. Now I use Adobe Bridge for my images, and I have already previously exported the files. Oh yes, so I have previously exported the files, and here are the star files, and I need to now just load them into Star Stacks and press go. As far as I know, it's 193 images. Why is it sideways? I don't know why it's sideways, but we will start the process here nonetheless anyway and see what happens. Now, look at this. I should have made it full screen. Can I still do that? Oh yes. Wow, it's like a time lapse of its own, eh? That is amazing. So I have no idea what it's doing in terms of processing. I assume it's just kind of like stacking them, if like a blend mode in Photoshop perhaps. And I guess the fact that they were 30-second exposures, they were still pretty pinpointy. Oh, look at the traffic. There was one or two cars that went past, and then these are clearly the people walking down from the mountains, which actually isn't too bad looking. Maybe I could use that at the end to see about perhaps using it as a leading line. But nonetheless, it is impressive looking, to say the least. I just wish it wasn't sideways, but such is the way of things. And there is possibly a plane, I assume, going through right in the middle. One of the main things that you need to take into consideration when setting these kinds of images up is Polaris. Essentially, all the stars rotate in this manner, as we can see now, around Polaris. And obviously, you don't necessarily have to have Polaris in the center of the frame. You can have it out of the frame. You just need to bear in mind that the star trails will essentially go in a different direction and all that kind of fun stuff. So there's plenty of opportunities to kind of play around with how the star trails look. But for me, and this particular one, I was thrilled that Polaris was above the central point here of this mountain. And I'm delighted that I was able to get it above that. So let's see, where is the picture? Where is the picture? Does it go into like downloads or something? So file, save as, and I will just put it into the folder. Okay, so that was awesome looking. So let's jump in here and have a look. Hopefully it rotated for us. That is gnarly looking. Nice. So ideally what we're going to do now is we are going to essentially stack the foreground image and then put this over the top and see what magic we can muster. So leave that with me, and if it all works, then I will show you the picture in classic ASMR photography lab style, and we'll talk about it then. So let's have a look. Welcome friends to the ASMR photography studio, and welcome to the cosmos. I cannot believe that that it worked, that it came together in the way that it did. I am absolutely thrilled. Like, I far exceeded any expectation I had. Even when I was watching the stars rotate around in star stacks, I know I probably didn't come across so well, but I was internally giddy. I'm so happy with how this image turned out. And as my first attempt to really try and put together something like this, I feel like I've learned so much, and cannot wait for the next opportunity to try and photograph something like this. I am so happy. Needless to say, as I mentioned, the foreground image is a stacked image which I processed separately, and then after we put together the star stack image, I then took that into Photoshop and processed it a little bit, and then stacked the images on top of each other, and essentially then just processed it as one final image to get to this point. I did crop as well to a 4x5, just because I felt like that the foreground was a bit long, and I essentially wanted to try and bring more emphasis of the light on the rocks to bring us up to the hills and ultimately to the spiraling stars. I also decided to not include the light trails from the people that walk from the top of the hill down through the frame. I did toy around with that, but to be honest, I couldn't blend it well enough to make it look nice, and realistically I had never really intended on having anything like that in the frame, so I decided to kind of leave it out. Another thing that I played around with also as well is the amount of pictures. After I recorded what you've seen just a moment ago of the star stacks, I actually then did it again, but with less photographs. I don't know, there was something about that first original image. It just seemed like there was too much going on. I know that's a bit stupid to say, but for me it felt kind of cluttered or crowded up there in the sky. And by only stacking, I think it was maybe about 100 pictures, again I was able to, well, first of all, eliminate the people walking through with their head torches. I was also selective in not including any of the car headlights that came through. And overall, I feel like it just made it a bit cleaner in relation to the final image. And that's one thing that I'm super duper happy with. But overall, I'm absolutely over the moon about how it all came together, and really delighted. And like I said, I am super looking forward to getting out and trying this technique again, and particularly not using Polaris as the kind of main point. I really love those kinds of images where star trails swoop and swirl in all sorts of directions, so I'm super duper excited about what's to come. So stay tuned for that, and absolutely do let me know what you think of this final image below in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. So I never even considered recording a little outro while I was in the field, so I will do it here for you now. As I mentioned in my mad ramblings as you were looking at the picture, I'm absolutely delighted with how it all turned out, and really look forward to photographing more of this. So I am going to keep it short and sweet here, folks. So if you did like the video, by all means do hit that like button, and if you do fancy following along for more adventures, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. So take it easy, everybody. Cheers.